What is that? Is it a refrigerator? Is this some kind of magic trick? It's got wings, but it's not an airplane. You know what I call it? I call it the most amazing and versatile homemade workbench you've ever seen. It's got 2 drawers and a cabinet for storing supplies and small power tools, a work surface almost 8 feet long and 2 feet wide, a big 3-section pegboard to keep hand tools within arm's reach, it's even got a light and power outlets. The bad news is you can't buy it anywhere. The good news? If I can build it, then you can too. The main room in my tiny cabin is only 8 feet by 8 feet. To maximize that small space, I've become kind of obsessed with folding furniture. You might say I'm a wooden folding chair aficionado. I've even built a few myself, like this flat folding chair that can be made from 1/2 sheet of plywood, or this transforming Franklin chair that turns into a stepladder for the vertically challenged. You might have seen my other video on how to build this Kentucky stick chair. My future plans include building one of these pull-out beds for the cabin. Oh yeah. Since we are on the topic of awesome foldable things, and this channel is called Big Guy in a Tiny House, I gotta show you this. They don't publish the price, but apparently Elon Musk paid like $50K for one of these boxable tiny homes. That price is probably a good ballpark estimate, although he does have a reputation for overpaying for things. There is a backlog, but a deposit will put you on the priority list. If you use the link I put in the description, I'll get a small referral fee and you'll get $100 off the purchase price. Think of it like getting half of your deposit back. I don't have any inside information about this boxable company. I can't vouch for them. Do your own research before you give them any money. Don't blame me if the company folds. With the boxables, you don't get the satisfaction of building something yourself. For that, you should consider one of these pre-cut post and beam kits. They'll ship all the parts you need to build the shell, including siding, roofing, doors, and windows. Then you can finish it off any way you want. If I ever build another tiny cabin, I'm going that route. Again, I'll put an affiliate link down in the description. But enough with all that. Back to the workbench. Long before I started working on the cabin, I built this transforming workbench in my garage. It was one of the most complex projects I had ever done. I learned a lot of new skills in the process, and it's what gave me the confidence to move up to a bigger construction project like my cabin with a front door I built from scratch. Watch my other videos for more about that cabin. If you're up for the challenge, I put a link in the comments where you can get the plans to build a workbench just like this, as well as the hardware you'll need to finish the job. You got to admit, this workbench is pretty cool. I don't care who you are, but it's not perfect. Like I said, this was a learning project for me. You might have noticed this t-shirt I'm wearing. It says, just because it's not perfect doesn't mean it's not good. If you remember nothing else from this video, I want you to remember that. It applies to DIY projects and just about everything else in life. Your job, your family, country, nothing's perfect. And that's okay. The important thing is that you give it your best shot, you learn from the experience, and maybe you do better next time. So I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm going to point out some of the flaws and imperfections in my own work. Okay, so first I'm going to let you hear what it sounds like when I open the wings. Just awful. Makes me cringe every time. If someone watching knows how I could have avoided that, put it in the comments. I'm thinking I should have rubbed some soap or something on the joints for lubrication. Too late now, I guess. I'm also not happy with my inset mortising for the support leg hinges. I could have done it with a router so I could set the depth, but I didn't want to deal with all that setup. So I just chiseled them out by hand, and of course I went a little too deep, so they're not all nice and flush. Some are better than others. They work just fine, it's just a little sloppy, and that bugs me. Then there's the nooks for the barrel bolts that lock each wing in its upright position. Here I did use a router, but I guess there's some waviness in the layers of the plywood, so I got these blotches and spots, where the next layer is exposed. And my round over edges aren't too nice either, especially in the corners. I also didn't do such a hot job on these groove joints on the drawers. The dry fit wasn't very tight, but nothing a little wood glue couldn't solve. They ended up good and solid. That was the very first time I attempted to build drawers, so I count it as a win. To be honest, if I were to do it again, I would just use pocket hole screws. Here I didn't drill my guide holes big enough and ended up twisting the heads right off a few of these screws that hold up the lip for the removable vise. But that was before I had a compressor. Today, I would just skip screws and use an air nailer. Finally, there's this. Somehow there's a lot more clearance under the left side of the pegboard than the right side. In fact, the right side rubs against the work surface when you open and close it. Something's not right. More than likely my measurements were a little off. I might fix it one of these days, trim a little off the bottom, but I haven't done that yet. So there you have it. It's certainly not perfect, but that doesn't mean it's no good. I use it all the time and it's served me well for going on 5 years now. I'm sure there's lots of folks watching who could do a much better job than me, but even they had to start somewhere. The great thing about a project like this is it gives you plenty of opportunities to learn by doing. And by doing, I mean making mistakes. A lot of people will tell you that's the only way to learn. So tell you what, head on over to my merch store, get one of these t-shirts, and for a limited time, I'll throw in the plans so you can make your own workbench like this. It'll do us both some good. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a dude with a video channel called Big Guy in a Tiny House.
Oh, there is a light. You have power. There's a light. Ha! Cool.